The name of the film is Sammi with an I, Sammi Blood.
The director, Amanda Cornell, is with us. Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
Is that's a person's name? Sammi Blood?
Is it?
No, Sami is the population. I know you call them Laplanders or Laps, but that's derogatory. So it's actually the right term is Sami.
It's derogatory to call people from Lapland Laplanders?
Yes.
Okay. They are Sami.
Yes, and the area is actually called Sápmi. Yeah.
These are people who apparently they are indigenous people who breed reindeer.
Herd reindeer.
Herd reindeer. It says a reindeer-breeding family here, but I guess that's kind of creepy if you think about it. But they herd reindeer.
Yes.
And they do this for a living, and it's through generations, I guess.
Yes.
And this is a story of a young girl who's taken to a boarding school from that family.
Yes.
And she doesn't want to do that, I guess.
Yeah, it's about Elle-Marja and her younger sister. And in the 1930s, you had to go to Sami boarding school or residential schools if you were from a reindeer herding family. And the schools, in these schools, only Swedish language.
The government made you do it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And only Swedish language was allowed. And you were taught Christianity, but you couldn't get into the Swedish school system after studying there, because at the time we had the first state institute of race biology in the world, and they thought that Sami people were on a lower level of evolution, and therefore would not be grown-ups, like the frontal lobe was not developed.
So again, it's an age-old story of taking indigenous people.
It's happened here in America. Same thing.
What?
Yes.
Oh, it has not.
It happened here in this state.
Yes.
They would
Yes.
take Native American children from their families and put them.
That's a lie. That never happened.
happened here.
That's a lie. Why does this happen again and again? I don't understand.
No.
So it's a story and it's a piece of history in Sweden, and people, have they tried to make reparations for this in Sweden?
No, actually, it's not a known part of our history in Sweden. No, we don't read about it in school. But I'm from a Sami family, so I grew up hearing about my grandparents going to these residential schools, about how they measure heads and took all these nude photographies, especially of Sami children.
What?
Yes, to prove their thesis. And the only thing we learn in Swedish schools it's just one sentence about Sami people. Is Samis are a people in 4 countries. Yeah, that's it.
Is there any movement or any to try and bring this more to light in Sweden, or do they just want to keep it shoved back in the back?
I think, we have an idea of ourselves as Swedes as, we're such a righteous country and we try to tell other countries how they should do things. But actually we're one out of very few countries with an indigenous population who has not signed the ILO 169 Convention for Indigenous People's Rights. And we get the UN complain every year how the Swedish state is treating their indigenous people.
Really? I had no idea. We here in America don't think of Sweden that way at all. We think of it.
Yeah.
We think, they're
Neither do we.
Very very wonderful people. Very
Civilized.
civilized
people.
Yeah. And we were neutral in World War II and everything. I mean, of course, we exported weapons.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. You are of Sami blood yourself, you say?
Yes.
Not
say that.
Not Christian. Is that? Did I understand that? You say they were taken to boarding schools and made to learn Christianity?
I mean, there is a religion, a Sami religion.
But it's not Christian?
But no, yeah, I mean, you had to be Christian and everything. I mean, that started in the 17th century.
What is the Sami religion?
It's a nature-based religion with different goddesses and gods. And
Woodland gods and that sort of thing, and nature gods?
Yes, you could say that.
What is that indigenous population like today?
Well, in making these films, I wanted two real sisters who could speak South Sami language. And it's 1 out of 9 Sami languages, and only spoken by 500 persons. This is I mean, there are bigger languages, but the situation is most people have lost their language because of these schools. But there are Sami parliaments in Sweden, in Norway, and in Finland. They don't have that much rights, though. They're like a department under the state, or under our Swedish parliament. But there's another pride today, you could say. I read my mother tongue in school, and you can get private lessons for free. And I mean, the way of singing is allowed. It came back in the 70s. Before that, you were fined if you sang.
If you were singing in the Sami language, you were fined?
Yes.
But you were able.
It's a way of. It's a little bit like throat singing, and it's a different technique.
But you were able to find young actresses that could speak, or did they have to be taught?
No, of course. I mean, half of the cast are Sami speakers, and then they are Sami speakers. They're most of them from reindeer herding families, because the language and tradition has been easier maybe to keep alive in those families. And if you're from a reindeer herding family, like the two main characters are in real life, you still go to boarding school, but it's not mandatory. But you do that because your parents are moving with the reindeer. So otherwise you would have to change schools all the time.
It's a nomadic life.
Yes.
How did you? The name of the movie is Sami Blood, and it's not a documentary; it's a dramatic film.
Yes, it's fiction.
But there could be a documentary made of this as well.
Of course, but the thing is, I thought a lot about that. I made interviews for the whole period while I was writing the script with the elders in my own family and other elders that went to the same boarding school, a residential school, but there's a lot of shame and a lot of silence. I don't think it would be that easy to make a documentary, because the film is about a person leaving her heritage and not talking about it anymore. I mean, it's about this kind of, maybe it's fear, maybe it's shame, maybe it's just out of survival, you know. She changes her identity, goes to the city to live another life, probably doesn't tell her kids where she's from, and that's a very well-known story within the Sami community. And after showing the film here and in other countries, it is a well-known story in other indigenous, communities as well as people with a migration background. Yeah. So I think it might be hard to make people talk about what you can't talk about. Mm-hmm.
It's a really personal film for you, isn't it?
Yes.
Was it a hard story to tell?
Well, it's an open wound in my family, just like in other families. But to make it was kind of healing, in a sense that you're not alone with the things you're thinking about. You're not alone with this conflict. Because in my family, there are elders who strongly reject Sami people, speaks very badly about them, but they are Sami, and I always known that. And the other part of the family are still in reindeer herding, and they can't talk with each other. And I sort of wanted to repair that, I guess, or try to... I've hoped that there could be some kind of solution or relief or something before this generation dies, and they're dying now. Because I grew up thinking, like, where will they be buried? Like, what do we do when they die? Where is their home? Are you really another person all the way through, or do you still miss your home even though you don't talk about it anymore? Yeah, all those questions. So in making it, and also with a big part of the Sami community in the film and in our crew, I think it was a good thing to be able to just talk about that, because we all know this story. So I hope the audience also will be kind of less lonely with this.
Have you shown it to audiences here now?
Yes.
And did people respond well to it?
Yes, it was. It was screened in Salt Lake City, and then we had also a community outreach screening for the native community here, which was great. I mean, that was really a way of feeling less lonely with these issues, because there's so many things that are alike. I mean, everything from handcraft to the way you sing to our common colonial history with these schools and race phrenology. And
will this be well accepted in Sweden? Will it?
It's very political to bring it up. There hasn't been made fictional work bringing up this part of our history. But so far it's very well received. But the real Swedish premiere is in a week,
Oh,
so we will see.
Well, good luck with that.
It'll be, well, good luck.
well, there's still 2 chances to see it as of this recording. Tuesday, January 24th, 8:30 at Prospector Square Theater, and then Saturday, January 28th at 9 p.m. down in Provo at the Sundance Mountain Resort Screening Room.
It is Sammi Blood. Thank you for being with us, Amanda Cornell. Thank you.
Thank you.